Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning is a prequel to the 2003 version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The film follows teens Chrissy, her boyfriend Eric, his brother Dean, and Dean's girlfriend Bailey as they attempt to survive an encounter with the antagonists. The scene I'm focusing on occurs when the party have been abducted, with the exception of Chrissy. She sneaks into the antagonist's home, and while she hides, she sees her boyfriend Eric being killed. The film's most important scene occurs directly after that, when she attempts to exit the house. The scream she hears comes from Bailey, who's trapped upstairs in the house. This scene's important in several ways. The scene presents a moral dilemma. Here, Chrissy has the chance to escape. The scene pauses long enough for us to consider what we would do in the same situation. So let's take stock of some information that's relevant to that decision. First, no one knows Chrissy is in the house. The only person who saw her was Eric, and he's now dead. Second, the scream comes from Bailey, Chrissy's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend, who Chrissy's only recently met. In other words, Chrissy doesn't owe anything to or have any real bond with Bailey. Third, if she did escape, there wouldn't be anyone to judge Chrissy. Even Bailey doesn't know Chrissy's there. No one would rebuke her for running away. No one would praise her for going back in. We might also not judge her negatively if she chose to escape, especially because we understand what the family is capable of. Chrissy does too. She's just seen her boyfriend being murdered, so she understands what's at stake. In fact, from outside the situation, we might think that Chrissy would be wise to escape or that she would be foolish to stay. In the same situation, I'm almost certain that I would leave. Chrissy chooses differently. Ultimately, and semi-spoiler, Chrissy dies because of that choice, and she's unable to save any of her peers. The reason I say this is only a semi-spoiler is that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning is a prequel, so we already know that the antagonists will persist unimpeded. I refer to Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning as a blequel because it's already a foregone conclusion that the protagonists will not escape or survive. However, that isn't to undermine Chrissy's choice. Note that she doesn't triumphantly stride back in as some kind of hero. She slumps and she staggers under the weight of her decision. She knows that she is almost certainly doomed, but she does it anyway because she thinks it's the right thing to do. The bigger picture reason this is so significant is because of the way horror was being spoken about at this time. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning belongs to the torture porn cycle, and torture porn films were routinely dismissed by critics as relentless, grim, brutal, nihilistic, and replete with immoral, selfish characters. As a blequel, this film should epitomise that complaint. But one of the reasons this scene is so significant is because it contains one of the most selfless acts in any horror film of the period. Chrissy doesn't do what she thinks is ethically necessary here. No one would blame her for choosing to preserve her own life given the way the odds are stacked against her. Instead, she goes above and beyond. In fact, her selflessness is accentuated by the brutality that characterises the rest of the film. This is a moment of pure compassion and humanity that undercuts the complaints made about horror in this period, and that is why this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning's most important scene.